Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty, here at you again with another edition of this week's vlog. If you haven't been following us around, we've been doing this autism thing for over 25 years. I've been living on my own for 7, and I have had a part-time job for about 15. So I've been around this autism thing for a very long time and been living the life of autism. It's been enmeshed in me. It's been part of my life and what it is, and it's just what it is. So we live life and we explore different things about autism here every week, and this week is no exception. This week we're going to talk about doing the necessities of life. And as autistic people, we're often seen in a younger generation, and there is that cliff, if you will, when we become adults and services diminish beyond what the public school arena gives. And sometimes, we have fortunate to have things like day services, which I have had my entire adult life, and I understand that I still need them. But through those services, I also have a part-time job. And sometimes in life, you know, there are expectations of the world, things we have to do in order to have the things we want, the things we desire, the things we need, to earn a living. And, that sometimes just because you have employment doesn't mean you get a free pass or a handout or a paycheck every week. Nor does it mean that even if beside working or doing anything in life that makes you have to leave your home, that it doesn't mean that you don't have to do things like uh taking a shower or getting dressed or applying deodorants or cleaning your glasses or things like that. Or even, for those who live on your own, like cooking meals, cleaning, doing laundry, so forth. Sometimes those things are not fun. And, there could be many times in my life where I would rather do something that I find fun or enjoyable. Sometimes I would let things go and not pay attention to what needed to be done, or I would not do things that I would need to do that I know I should do and be responsible and do the right thing because I didn't have the motivation or I didn't have the expectation of doing those things. And sometimes when we're told things that as autistic people, because we're often perceived to have an immature sense of self, it it can come across hard when we're told that we have to do things that are the non non-pleasurable adult things. And sometimes it's hard to want to do them and have that determination and grit to keep going and even do things that are sometimes out of our comfort zone. But it takes knowing too that we have to pull our weight sometimes, and I mean literally pull our weight and be a part of whatever we're involved in, or what we have for in our lives. Sometimes it's important for us to to do those things so we can keep earning a living, and or maybe keep living on our own. Those expectations are always there. And, sometimes in the world, we are told things that we don't necessarily want to hear. Sometimes they're the truth. Sometimes, they're honest. And, they're blunt sometimes. And they can sometimes hurt. And sometimes they can even bring additional anxiety because you don't want to hear those things, and they're reality. They're really what you have to do. And like you can't be this immature self who always wants their way when it comes to doing things and not have to do the things that, adults do. Part of growing up and being independent or just growing up in general, and having the autonomy and all of that, after you become an adult, you have choices, you have decisions. Sometimes those decisions, you have to do what's right. And if that means you have to do what you're told and switch your behaviors and do what's right, because do what you're told, do what's right, do what you need to do to maybe make to earn a little extra money, or keep your apartment, or maybe just be able to do things and be well. Those things are hard to do sometimes, and they're not easy, and it's not that you're lazy. And yeah, I get autistic burnout. It can accumulate over time, or it can be hard when there's a busy day involved and there's lots of transitions involved. And yeah, you may need time to relax, and that too is okay. But you eventually have to do those non-enjoyable adult things. I think about the laundry that I need to do this weekend. I know I need to do it. It's a necessity. It has to be done. Nobody's going to do it for me. I mean, you think it's easy, but and in many ways it can be, but it's part of being an adult. It's part of growing up. It's part of maturing. It's part of, I mean, it's not a hard skill. You just go and you throw the laundry in and you switch it over to the dryer and you put it in. But, it does involve multiple steps, and it can be cumbersome, and it does take time for me to get it all done. But there is a sense of pride in that. Same thing with keeping your apartment clean. It's inspection season again, and we'll be probably getting time for the annual walkthrough where they come and inspect the apartments. So, you have to be prepared for that. You have to do those things, but you really should be doing them all along. You should be having a clean bed, and I know sometimes it is hard to do those things, but there is, and there's somebody out there on the internet who became famous by saying the first thing you can accomplish in a day is making your bed. Now, granted, I'm not the greatest at it. Some days I'm better at it than others, but there is a sense of accomplishment when that is done. It can also be a challenge when, the fitted sheet doesn't stay, and, things come off and things get stained and all of those things. It can be difficult. It can be challenging. It's not that I don't need help. And it's not particularly, maybe it is in a way, but maybe not that I'm lazy. But, those things are a lot of work to do. And sometimes we have to fight through our perceived fears, our perceived lack of desire to do those things, and just do them because we know we need to do them. It's not easy. It can be hard. I think it's, we say that things like laundering stuff and, cleaning things can be mundane, and they're not doesn't really bring a lot of, spark to the day. Granted, we can make it a good thing, maybe put on our headset, play some music, whatever, that makes us feel good in that retrospects. To get the job done and be proud of ourselves, so that we can have a better living environment, or maybe, that we earn a living, or that we, have clean clothes to wear, or we have a clean body. I read often, on different groups on Facebook how hard it can be to take a shower. And, it is, and I've always said it is. There's multiple, and people, when I talk to neurotypical people or professionals, and I have this conversation about the challenges that people with autistic or sensory challenges may have when it comes to cleaning up and taking a shower. The multiple steps that are involved, the different sense of temperature, the different feelings, you know, those things can be difficult. Those things can be challenging. It can be hard to go through that process. It can be tedious for some, and it can be overwhelming. And I think eventually it was for me learning that it's a necessity if I want to work in the working world, go out in the world, and you have to make the best of it. Maybe you can take some extra steps, make sure the water's hot, just make sure your clothes are laid out, or that you pick something maybe that feels good on you, and you look forward to wearing that, makes you proud and confident of being you, and a few months ago, I got new glasses, and they had gotten me a new cleaner, and a rag. And so, and before that, I had bought wipes, and they'd give me wipes, and I'd bought wipes, and that just wasn't cutting the mustard to getting them clean every day. There would be days that I would go without getting them clean. And, just having that rag and that cleaner bottle, that helps sometimes because, I know to do it every day. I have it sitting here at my computer. I usually get up and read the newspaper in the morning, most mornings, and or at least check my email or go on social media. And this little bottle here, and I know that I have to clean my glasses every day. That's a task, and it takes up maybe 30 seconds, but it's done. And sometimes, too, it is those little mundane things, and sometimes we have to understand what we're getting into when we do things like earn a living. We're not there to do things that are not part of earning that living. And we have responsibilities that we have to uphold, and there are expectations and rules. And sometimes it takes, as hard as it can be, to be told to follow those expectations and those rules. It's a reality that you have to do it. Any employer, that may or may not be understanding, you're always going to have to do what you're told. And sometimes that was hard for me to accept for many decades. But, if you want to have a living and want to have things the way they are, you're going to have to, to compromise and do what is needed to be done. It means shifting your routine, maybe. It means maybe, changing habits that you're doing. And it's not easy, but you have to do it if there's expectations that need to be met, deadlines, rules, things like that, that, if you want to earn a living and you have to do those things, it's just a part of life. Um, and sometimes you have to make the best of it too. You have to make, when you're going into a workplace or you're working and you're doing something that you're earning a living for, you have to sort of take pride in that work. You have to make it your own and make it the best that you can. And you have to find the things that bring you joy in that. I always say, you got to bring joy in what little bit of the day you can find. Anything to bring a smile to your face, a laugh, those sort of things. They matter. They're important. They're sometimes what get you through the day. And sometimes it's hard when you're told something that you don't want to hear. And, that can be where that immaturity complex comes in. But you have to do what's right if you want to continue to have the benefits that you want and the things that you want to do. that you need to have, and you need to have things that you look forward to, the things that you need. Those things are important, and sometimes it's hard. I read often where autistic people can have several jobs in their lifetime, and I'm very fortunate that I've only had a few, and this one I've had for 15 years. And sometimes it means that things change and things get real sometimes, and things have to be done, and things change. And that is a part of life. I have been through so many changes in the past 2 years that it's been a lot, and but I've adapted very well to those changes. I've become much well accustomed, and even some of those changes, as hard as they were initially when they were brought forth to me, they became some of the best changes that could have happened in my life. Sometimes we have to fight for what we want to and self-advocate for what we need so that we can be our best mentally and be able to take care and be able to do things in a way that make things good for us. So, those things matter. Those things are important. And, as much as it can be hard to do things that we don't want to do, and we sometimes overthink about doing them, or we put them off because we think, oh, they're going to take forever or whatever. They're not really going to take forever. And, once you get a groove or a habit going, it gets better. But it takes that part, and that's the hardest. It takes that part to get started, and eventually it does get better. But it will take time. And I hope that, as I continue on with things being better, that it does get better, and there's more of a routine, and the things that have to be done, and they're a part of that routine, and they become new habits, and they come like second nature, and they don't make the things that when they had to be changed as abrasive as they were. So I hope that makes sense to you. I thought I would share that for a few minutes today. Again, I want to thank you for liking this channel. I know we had some new subscribers, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to like this video, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. And lastly, I have a link tree with all my links to my podcasting platforms where this video will be on. It will also my email sign up and all and other relative links. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty under Linktree. Again, I want to thank you for listening, taking the time out of your evening, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.